This book is proof that you can have a badass female main character and it not feel cringy and weird.
And he goes away. I'm like,
I know.
God damn, bro.
Give
please.
me blue balls, bro.
Give
please.
me something. Oh, I didn't see you there.
Welcome to Readers Anonymous.
Warning, the following content is intended for mature audiences over the age of 18. This podcast contains really cool shit that parents may not find suitable for children, including coarse language, themes of violence, sex, the overthrowing of fascist governments, and romanticy, even though we don't really like that stuff. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 4th episode of Readers Anonymous. I am your host, John.
And I'm your other host, Cam.
Today we have a special episode. It is the second rendition of our series, Suck
or Fuck.
The series where we decide if books suck
or if they fuck. Pretty simple.
Today we're going to be rating the Sword of Kaigen. So we're going to be doing a recap, and then we'll be kind of going through it and giving our thoughts and feelings about it.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about this book. This book is highly praised on the internet.
It is. And yeah, I'm worried that we're going to have differing opinions on it. But you know, I'll leave that to the discussion.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, we do have our weekly reading log. So, Cam, what do you got for us?
So, obviously, we read The Sword of Kaigen this week.
Yes.
We kind of sped run this book a little bit. And after that, we're trying to get another episode next week, another Suckerfuck episode on another book called Hyperion by Dan Simmons.
Yes.
I'm very excited to read this book. One of our best friends is actually coming down to talk about this book with us. He's going to be reading it through the week. He doesn't normally read that heavily, so we're all very excited to see his thoughts on it and compare it with ours. You know what I mean?
He's a fan of the podcast,
Yes.
so he's told us he wanted to come on. So we decided on a book that we wanted to talk about. He's also been making his way through the Red Rising series, and he just finished Lightbringer. So we're hoping to talk about that as well. We honestly will probably end up doing an entire episode on Red Rising, whether or not it's with Ever or just on our own,
Right.
At some point. But I'm hoping to at least touch on Lightbringer a bit before we talk about Hyperion.
I agree. I'm excited to talk about that book.
Yes.
I love one of the characters.
One of the characters.
I'm not going to say who.
Yeah, I think they could kind of guess based on how you're talking about
I
it.
love them.
For myself, like Cam, I've been reading Sword of Kaigen. I also have been listening to the 3rd book of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I've been listening to it on audiobook. Between reading I would pretty much read this mostly physical, and then while I'm at work, I've been listening to the 3rd book, the Anarchist Cookbook.
How was the 3rd one?
I really enjoyed it. I finished it.
You finished it?
Yeah, I did finish it. Those books are so consistent is the biggest thing I could say about it. So far the series hasn't grabbed me as an emotional powerhouse, which I don't think it's really meant to. It's much more lighthearted, much more fun.
For sure.
But it still has some emotional weight, and the fighting is still awesome.
Yes.
And the world building is awesome.
The characters are awesome.
The characters are phenomenal.
Shout out Donut.
Yeah. So it's kept that up the entire 3 books so far.
Sweet.
And I keep finishing the next book in the series and being like, I think this one's my favorite. And not to say that it's so much better than the last few, but I also could just be recency bias, and they're just that consistent that it just happens to be the last one I read. The one that I remember the most ends up being,
right. That makes sense.
The best. But yeah, no, I think that all those books are great so far. So I'm excited to read the 4th one. So yeah, going into next week between Hyperion, I might start the 4th one as an audiobook. I haven't decided for certain, or I might, pick something else to listen as an audiobook while I make my way through Hyperion, but either way, we'll kind of have to speed run Hyperion because we only have until Friday.
Yes.
Which gives us 5 days essentially.
That's easy.
Which
100 pages a day.
We can do it. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Cake.
500 pages, is that what it is total?
Yes.
Okay.
And me and my wife, we do this thing. I think I talked about it in the first episode. For those of you who don't know, we read a book together each month. One month I'll pick, and then the next month she picks. We alternate like that. It's my month to pick, and I finally chose our book for the month. It is going to be Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson.
I'm jealous, bro.
I'm very excited.
I want to read that book.
Yes, I gave her two choices. I was either that or Isles of the Emberdark, I think is
Isles
what it's
of
called.
Emberdark, yeah.
I heard both of them are amazing, and I just wanted her to get a Sanderson standalone.
Yeah.
And so I just let her pick, and of course she chose the love story.
Yeah.
But I'm pumped.
Yeah, between those two and Tress of the Emerald Sea seems to be like the standouts in terms of his like Cosmere standalones.
Yes.
I definitely want to pick one of those up at some point. I'm pretty much like I read all of Mistborn. I read the Mistborn novella and pretty much all of Stormlight Archive. So next step is to look at the standalones for Brandon Sanderson. I did read Sunlit Man, which I thought it was good. I didn't think it was anything great, which kind of makes me a little skeptical of the other standalones. But I've heard nothing but praise for those ones at least. So
yes, I'm praying for the best because after the 5th book in Stormlight Archive, I need a banger.
Yeah.
I need a banger from Sanderson.
Yeah, and I think that's a good one to read like with your wife because I think that they're all pretty like lighthearted and sweet books. I think. And is You Mean the Nightmare Painter, is that a romance? I don't remember.
It is a romance.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's a romance between. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it is, and I think all these standalones are. The narrator is Hoyd. From Cosmere. Okay. So I'm excited to see how that reads because he's one of my favorite characters from Stormlight Archive. So
yeah, I remember it was funny because I think during the first book when I saw some people talking about it, they like predicted that Wit was going to be Hoyd.
Right.
So I thought that must have stemmed from like Mistborn or something like that. But then when you read Era 1 of Mistborn, Hoyd's like mentioned like twice.
Right.
He's like barely there. So I was confused on like what books was Hoyd present in, and I didn't realize it was those standalones. And I don't know if there's other ones that Hoyd is also. I assume he's present in like most of the Cosmere books, is what it seems like. But in terms of like getting to know who Hoyd is, I'm guessing it comes from those.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get more of Hoyd. I hope it's not just a voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is it could still be good. The plot could still be amazing, but I'm hoping there's like some other stuff from him in there. Get into his character.
Are you planning on physically reading those, or do you think you're gonna pick up the audiobook?
I don't know. It kind of depends on where we're at with the podcast. If we have another sucker fuck we want to do, that kind of thing. I'll probably do a mix of both.
Yeah.
But like we'll see.
Yeah. That makes me want to pick one of those books up as my audiobook listen while I'm listening to Hyperion. But it's very difficult to pick a good audiobook sometimes for me because I just prefer physically reading so much at this point. But obviously when we're reading a book like Hyperion, I don't want to be like switching between that and another physical book.
Well, let me help you.
Okay.
The narrator is Michael Kramer.
It is?
Yes.
I was going to ask you that because that helps a lot.
That's one of our favorite narrators.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. But yeah, you should 100% read You Me and the Nightmare Painter.
Okay, well maybe I will. Maybe
then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That'd be perfect.
Little three-way action going on. All right, you ready to get into the Sword of Kaigen?
Yeah, sure. So like we did with Akatar, we're going to do a little plot recap. We'll try, not go too deep into it. Really leave our thoughts for, once we get into the deeper discussion. All right, yeah, you want to lead off?
Yeah, for sure. So the story begins on a peninsula in the Kaigenese Empire called the Sword of Kaigen, where we are introduced to one of our lead main characters, Mamoru. I think that's how you say his name.
Mamoru, yeah, I think that's right.
And he is the son of this great lord of this house called Matsuda.
Yep.
And he is training at this school for swordsmen.
Mm-hmm.
And the other main character is going to be his mother, Misaki.
Misaki, yep.
And the story just begins with him training, and you learn about the magic system in this world, and it's like Avatar Airbender-esque, where they just bend the elements. They are a family of waterbenders, so they can like turn things into like ice spears and stuff like that. It's really fucking cool. The magic system is awesome.
Yeah. And in the beginning, it's very much like kind of presented as like a very traditional Japanese-esque rural olden days.
Yes.
Like you have heads of households and the mothers stay at home and take care of the kids. The boys are trained to become warriors. Like it's very exactly kind of what you'd expect based off of looking at this cover for this kind of book.
Right. And a new kid comes to their school from a different country.
Yes.
And Mamoru is introduced to this kid, and they become friends.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout their lessons, a history lesson specifically, one of his instructors, another big head of household name, I forget what is it, the Yukinos? The
I think
Yukinos
so.
sensei?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Is talking about their history and how great the Sword of Kaigen is, and how they fended off all these invaders so easily that they didn't even like touch down on their peninsula. And this foreign kid just like kind of scoffs and starts laughing.
Yeah, I think his name's Kwang.
Kwang, yeah. And he just kind of disrespects it, and he ends up talking to Mamoru about it and says that's just a lie. Like, they're lying to you.
Yeah.
Your history is false, basically.
Which Mamoru takes like a huge offense to, because like as you would kind of expect based off of where they're at, basically faith in empire and country is like the biggest thing instilled into the kids. It's like my emperor is like my father, my empire. I am born and raised to serve my empire. And it's like basically saying like they would never lie to us.
Yes.
Like that would be impossible.
And so with that disrespect, they get into a big fight, and Mamoru ends up punching the kid. Mm-hmm. And as result of this, they both have to do this chore together and clean the roof of this sword school. And I think we forgot to mention the school is on top of a fucking mountain.
Yes.
So that's a little important.
The Sword of Kaigen, is like the peninsula that it takes place on is basically like a very like mountainous and like cold atmosphere.
Yes.
Which makes sense for, the water benders. Which is, it feels, I don't even know if I should say necessarily water benders, because that is the case, but it's very much like ice is like the biggest part of it. Like everything, all the times when they're using weaponry, using their bending, or I call it bending. I forgot what the exact term is in this book. It's for the purpose of ice. Like there's a big importance of like the snow and feeling, and like they all like give off like a cold energy to them. So that's like a very important part. It's like
But what is ice?
Well, ice is water, but I'm saying to call them water bending is like, I feel like
I get it.
Yeah, it's a little. It doesn't paint the right picture.
Right. Yeah. Ice guys.
Yeah,
they're ice. And so Mamoru and this foreign kid are on top of the roof, and they fall off.
Yes.
The side of this mountain, where Mamoru uses his ice powers to create a great thing of snow beneath them and like basically like save their fall, but they still get hurt in the process. Mm-hmm. And he has to basically like carry this kid down like the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
Where they land on this plane.
Yes.
I guess this crash plane that was completely forgotten about. And the plane isn't made out of any material that would have been used in Kaigen.
Yeah. It's made of Zalazan glass.
Yes.
Which is like a notoriously like impenetrable glass made by a foreign nation.
Yes.
So it's like, if this is Zalazan glass, then that is confirmation that a foreign nation was able to cross into the Sword of Kaigen Peninsula, which goes against everything that the history taught them.
Exactly. So this is kind of a turning point for Mamoru and his relationship with Kwang. Is it Kwang or Kwam?
Kwang. There's
Kwang.
a G.
Okay, Kwang. And Mamoru is kind of torn up about this. Mm-hmm. He's like, everything is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
And he goes and talks to Misaki, where we start to delve into her character a little bit more.
Yeah.
She basically confirms, yes, it's a lie. Your history is not true. It's used to, I don't know, how would you say they use their history, the government?
Well, the point of their history really is to instill in to their people that basically that the empire is like unstoppable,
right?
So that they would never be fearful of attack or fearful of a foreign invasion, because within the Sword of Kaigen they're like a warrior class. They're raised for the purpose of defending the empire from foreign invasion. So the last thing they want them to do is believe that like almost. They want to make them believe that they're like immortal, essentially, not literally, but to the point that they're like unstoppable. That no foreign nation could ever pose a threat to us.
And that's very important because they are. If an invasion happens, the Sword of Kaigen is like the spot where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're the frontal assault. You know what I mean? That's where it starts.
Yeah.
So you start to go and learn about Misaki and where she came from. She originally, before she was married off to the Matsudas, was a part of this house called the Susanos. They are bloodbenders. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, all the members of the like ice or water bending class within specific houses, there's like a hierarchy of houses with the Matsudas, Mamoru's family at the top, and below them is one of the families like the Susanos, and each one of them kind of have their own like unique. I forgot exactly what they call them. They're called like family techniques or something like that. So yeah, for the Susanos, it's blood manipulation.
Yes,
which is really cool.
Yeah, she can do crazy shit.
Yeah.
But you learn that she went to school in another country. So she is very well learned and knows a lot of the truths that the Kaigenese Empire hides from the people of the Sword of Kaigen. And you learn that she was a crime fighter at this school.
Yeah. Her along with her friends Aline and Robin, Robin kind of being like the leader of the group, essentially were like vigilantes within a city, and they had like code names. Like I think Robin was Firebird.
He was Firebird. She was Shadow.
She was Shadow. And it kind of is like a Batman-esque thing where he doesn't kill,
but Misaki wants to.
Misaki wants to kill.
She's dark.
But yeah, and you kind of go through her past a little bit of where she became who she is. The fact that she is a skilled fighter is in itself an important plot point, because the women of Kaigen are not supposed to fight. None of the women within where this plot takes place fight at all. So it's very and when she married into the Matsudas, that's something that she had to hide.
Yes.
And something that she couldn't talk about really with anyone.
Yes. So I'm gonna do a little bit of skipping ahead here, right? The main part of Misaki's backstory that's important is that eventually she gets this blade made out of Zillas and glass, the impenetrable, not metal. I mean, it's literally glass.
It's glass.
That like can't be broken by steel and stuff like that. And it's said that it can't be broken by like anything, basically.
Yeah.
It's super strong, and she has this blade, and because she has to hide her past, she hides the blade under the floorboards of her Matsuda house.
Yes.
For just in case, I guess. To, like burying her past, almost. And they start getting talk in Kaigen of these storms hitting. And tons of little things are popping up about these storms. They're getting these weird notes from like family members saying, hey, storms are hitting the coast.
You might want to move inland. There's like TV programs showing the storms, and Kwang and Mamoru both point out that like they've been reusing footage of like soldiers helping people. Like this obviously isn't real footage.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
Where Mamoru's dad, Takeru, does not like that.
Yes.
His son basically starts talking shit about his empire, saying that they're liars, and he's not backing down from his father. And his father's like, you don't talk about the empire in my house like that. And Mamoru is not having it.
Yeah.
So,
Takeru's even saying like, even if they are lying, it's not our place to question them.
Yes.
It's like we are here. We are the Sword of Kaigen. If invaders come, we fight them. That's as far as our questioning should go.
Yes. And important to tie into that a little bit, Takeru, his dad, it's very important to know that he is very closed off.
Yes.
He is very closed off, and he doesn't really have much of a relationship with his son or his wife, Misaki, and he just kind of does what he's told, is super strong, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
He's super tough on them.
Yeah, because Misaki, it was an arranged marriage with Takeru. She did not choose Takeru. It was basically chosen for her by her family.
Yes, and she wanted to marry Robin.
Yes.
But her family basically told her no. I mean, technically they didn't, but anyways. Where were we?
We were talking about the fact that they were showing and talking about these storms that were coming.
Yes.
And the fact that they were all faked.
So Mamoru disrespecting the Empire and refusing to back down. Takeru is like, okay, if you're man enough to say these things about the Empire, then you're going to face me in the dojo.
Yeah, you got to be man enough to back it up.
Yes. And they go to the dojo, and they fight. It's a really cool fight, and Takeru beats the fucking shit out of Mamoru.
Ain't even a problem.
It's not even close.
Not even close.
Mamoru's form is like completely sloppy. There's holes everywhere. Blah blah blah.
He's terrified.
Yes.
One thing that's important too is, like I said, the Matsudas are like the number one like household in this like class of waterbenders, but they're like, or the whole like lore behind it is that they're like the closest to the original bloodline of like the gods.
Yes.
And that's represented in the fact that everyone in the Matsuda family are like these almost like pseudo gods within like the amount of power that they wield. Yes. And compared to like every other person within Kaigen in the school, like Mamoru is like way advanced, way ahead of everyone. His younger brother is 5 years old, already like wielding a blade. And with his father being like a part of that as well, he is like notoriously just like this, almost like a godlike power you can just like feel when he walks around you.
They almost have like aura around them, like from how powerful they are. It's
exactly.
Like you can picture it like in an anime. You know what I mean? Like the aura is just surrounding them. That's how it is with the Matsudas and other powerful Theonites. And this leads into another super important thing. In this fight, Mamoru loses his blade basically, and the Matsuda household has one of those special techniques we talked about previously, and it's called the Whispering Blade.
Yes.
It is a blade formed out of ice so pure that it can shatter steel.
It is as sharp as a molecule.
Yes. It is so fucking cool.
It can cut a perfect Whispering Blade can cut through anything, essentially, is like the lore behind it.
And it is very important for Mamoru's character that he cannot do this yet. He's only 14 years old, which, again, it's not bad that he can't do it yet. He's just hard on himself because he can't do it yet. I think his father did it at like 15 or 16 or something like that. So
yeah, it had to have been like 16.
Yeah, so he still has a couple years. But in this fight, he loses his blade, tries to use the Whispering Blade technique, fails multiple times, and his father just lays him out flat, punches him in the face, and is like, you need to be in here training until this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Which leads into our next major plot point right after this, where the father leaves and Misaki goes into the dojo, and it's very bad for women to go into their dojos again because the women aren't fighters. It's a sacred space for the men. And she goes in, and Mamoru's like, whoa, don't do this. And she reveals to her son that she was a great fighter, and she trains up Mamoru and shows him all the holes in his game plan and stuff like that and how to get stronger, basically. Yeah. And from there, I think we can do a little more skipping ahead, right?
Yeah, I think so. I guess the important point to kind of know there is for Misaki, it's kind of the first time that she's been able to kind of reveal herself to anyone.
Yes.
Like I said, this entire time for, 15 years at this point, she's had to kind of restrict who she is. So for her to do that for Mamoru, and for Mamoru, who she feared might reject it because he's been obviously raised in this environment, like doesn't even question it. He's like, oh no, that makes sense. You said you left home. You said you left the Kaigenese Empire. It makes sense that you did this, and like he never had like an issue with it, and that was like a big point for her. Is like why did I not do this sooner?
Right.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, we can go from there. You want me to take over?
Yeah, do some.
I think pretty much the biggest thing from there is they get another letter, or Misaki gets a letter from a close friend of hers, who is Raiganese. That's right?
I think it's Ranganese.
Ranganese. Yeah. That's right. Who the Ranganese are like essentially sworn enemies of Kaigen. It's a foreign nation, and they are like aggressors. And the letter basically straight up tells her, there is an invasion coming. You and your family need to leave. And Takeru, being Takeru and, believing in his empire and not trusting anything outside the empire from like a Ranganese person, it basically tells her like, no, we're not listening to this. This is deceitful. Like we would never trust a Ranganese. And Misaki is like, no, like I trust her. I know she wouldn't do this. I'm taking our kids and I'm leaving.
Yes.
And when she begins to do that, she literally temporarily paralyzes her husband's arm using a blood technique. She runs out, freezes the door that he's in, starts getting all the kids, and all of a sudden you hear the horns blaring and the temple bell ringing. I think is what.
Yes, the temple bell. That's the big part.
Which is a sign that an invasion has started.
Yes.
And this is where the book really comes to like a head of a turning point in fast-paced, like crazy.
Yes.
So yeah, you can pick up from there.
And they walk outside, and you just see a giant fucking tornado. A giant fucking tornado. And it's confirmation from Misaki that these are the Ranganese, and they're airbenders, basically. And they are forming this tornado, and they're attacking.
Yeah.
And that kind of puts all their other like fights to the side between her and Takaru, and how she just like disobeyed him and stuff like that. And everyone's like, holy shit, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
All the men fighters gather, including Mamoru, and they go to all the main paths up the mountain and try to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
And they basically have to fight a fucking tornado.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the battle scenes later.
Yeah. I just, this is where you begin to see like the true power of that these people wield.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
It's really cool. And Mamoru, as being this young kid, being with all these adult fighters, doesn't know really what to do.
Yeah.
And is just kind of on the back burner watching his powerful family members slay these motherfucking Ranganese and like just do crazy shit.
Yeah.
They like form like an ice dragon at some point, which is crazy. And there's so many fucking Ranganese that they start dwindling in people.
Yeah.
There's only so much that they can do about
It's like
this.
20 to 1.
Yes. And it ends up being just Mamoru, his father, and his father's brother.
Takashi, yeah.
Takashi.
The head of the Matsuda.
And Takashi is like, tells Takaru, the father, you need to go back to the village where the women and children are hiding.
Yeah.
And go protect them.
Yeah.
And me and Mamoru will handle this. And that's very difficult for Takaru because he's basically just leaving his son on this battlefield, facing hundreds of Ranganese.
Yeah.
But Takaru does what he's told.
Yep.
And goes back to the village, allegedly, and leaves them. Where they fight, and Takashi ends up getting wounded and is like basically on his deathbed, and he wants to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
And sends Mamoru off to the
Swordsmith.
the Swordsmith village that they see is like flames are erupting.
Yeah.
People are there. Something bad is going on there. And he's like, go, I'll handle this. Basically just like knowing that he's going to die.
Yeah.
And so he sends Mamoru off to the Swordsmith village. And he finds one of the important blacksmiths there and saves his son.
Mm-hmm.
Where he encounters like a very strong Ranganese fighter.
Yeah.
It's in Ranganese culture, the yellow robe ones are like the cannon fodder
the
soldiers,
fodder,
basically, and the black robed ones are
the elite
special forces, basically.
And this was one that you actually saw earlier, who was able to keep up with both Takaru and Takashi at the same time.
Yes.
So he knew immediately, like,
I'm fucked.
I'm fucked. There's no chance. Like, this guy is way beyond my level. But he's able to, keep up as best as he can, relying on everything he's learned in the past until his gut gets slit and he sees as his innards fall out of him.
Yeah. And on his dying knees, Mamoru generates a whispering blade mixed with blood and ice and cuts down this powerful soldier.
Yeah.
And dies. And basically no one will ever know that he's the youngest person in Matsuda history to conjure this whispering blade technique, but no one will know.
Yeah.
And he dies.
Yeah. And then cut back to Misaki. While Takaru was off defending the coast, some of the Ranganese were able to break through the line and got to the village, where she's had to basically use her alone, having to defend the rest of their family, fighting through Ranganese soldiers. And at one point, one of the Ranganese is able to get her down, and her 5-year-old son. Do you remember his name? Hiyori, I think, or
That was the woman, I think.
That's the woman,
that's one of the
sorry.
women.
Yes. It's another
Hiroshi?
H name. Hiroshi, something.
Yes.
Yeah, Hiroshi. That's right. Hiroshi comes up behind and kills the Ringnese soldier with Misaki's sword.
That was fucking awesome.
This 5-year-old kid chops
her
into his
life.
neck and then slices down his middle. Goddamn.
And it's like, you're safe now, Mom. It was fucking sick.
It was brutal. And then eventually Takaru makes it back.
And they get word that the government is basically coming to do an airstrike and help them out, and that all the people need to get to a bomb shelter immediately. Most of them get to the bomb shelter, and she saves one of like her like female friend's life from this rapist, and like cuts off his head.
Yeah.
And they get to the bomb shelter, and Mamoru is nowhere to be found. Takashi's nowhere near to be found. A bunch of important people are nowhere near to be found, and they close the doors, and everything just gets like fucking obliterated.
Yeah,
basically.
The bombs start dropping. The rest of Kaigen essentially is within this bomb shelter as they're hiding away until you get to the next day.
Yes, where everything's cleared out, and from here, it's definitely not intense, and it's more of just talking about the repercussions of war and all the effects of everything that just happened.
Yeah.
All the people that lost family members, the village being destroyed, and the military shows up. The Kaigenese military, like the overarching government, basically, shows up and is like, yo, all your dead, go put them in a giant pot. Like, you have to bring them in this one spot. You can't mourn them or bury them yourselves.
Yeah.
And they burn all their dead and just cover this hole.
Yeah.
And say they're covering it up.
Yeah.
They don't want anyone to know that the enemies were able to do this to their people. Basically,
the Ranginese were able to get this much damage.
Yes.
And through it all, a big part is the fact that Takaru, Takashi, his older brother, was the head of the household, the Matsuda house, as well as the mayor. Both of them were killed during the attack. So Takaru has had to take place as like the head of the town, essentially, or the head of the village.
Yes.
But through it all, he's essentially like just let the government roll over them. He's allowed them to disrespect him. He hasn't taken charge in the efforts to rebuild. He hasn't inspired hope. He's just been like distant and
cold
and just letting themselves get run over. And you're seeing as Misaki has to like react to the fact that her son was killed, her 14-year-old son. And, just the like Cam was saying, the repercussions of everything that's happened, which kind of, I think, comes to a head.
Yes.
To
where
the duel.
Misaki grows, she just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
It's too much grief, and her husband has just been cold this entire time, and she writes him a note of challenge, which I guess in this culture, the Matsudas can't, they don't deny that.
Yeah.
And as an anonymous person saying, hey, you're a pussy, come fucking fight me for your honor, basically. And he shows up and sees that it's his wife, and they have a very emotional head-to-head where Misaki's just on him, wanting him to be a man, basically.
Yeah.
Just pushing him. And they have this duel, and Misaki shocks him with how fucking strong she is.
Yeah.
And he just brings this man to his knees. And
you learn from Takaru, it switches to his POV, and you start to put together the pieces of why Takaru is the way that he is. It talks about his past, why he became the person he is today, the trauma he's had to go through, and it kind of just comes to a head where he learns that he's used a coping method that has essentially destroyed the people around him.
yes.
And he needs to step up. He needs to become a man for his people, for his wife, for his kids. And it comes to this beautiful climax where they basically learn to get past, the issues of their past.
Yes. And his whispering blade is now strong enough to break her Zillizen glass, the unbreakable glass, and breaks through the sheath of it, and they come together, you know.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's just basically village rebuilding, what you'd expect.
Yeah.
And Takaru kind of like becoming more of a man and taking charge of everything. And I think that's kind of where we can leave it. I don't think we need to get too much.
No,
into
I
the
don't
small
think
details.
so. It's a happy ending.
Yes. As
all
happy
right.
as it can get.
Yeah. So I guess we can go from there. Sorry, it was kind of like depressing,
Yes.
but this is a depressing book.
It's
really.
it is not what I expected.
The tone is like, you read the first few chapters and you kind of get, like, we even talked about it last episode. You
Yes.
kind of get this like anime, like, wow, like, where are you going? Like it has like this upbeat feel to it. At least
Yes.
that's how I felt
Yeah, I
about
agree,
it.
100%.
Like they're kids, they're going to school, they're fighting, like they're arguing, but and then like it comes to this point where when the Ranganese come, from then on it's like, holy shit, like you're smacked with reality.
Yes.
Of like how horrible the empire is. You like seeing the effects of death and all the people being killed around them. Like it hits hard.
It hits very hard. This book is more than just fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a love letter to how fucked up war is.
Yeah.
Basically. I don't even know what to say about it, honestly. It's just sad, honestly. It's not like bring tears to your eye kind of sad, but it's more just like man.
It was bring tear to my eyes. Kind of
Really?
sad for sure.
Okay.
There was a good number of places. It got tears multiple times.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
I'm not gonna lie. I would say like the biggest one was Misaki finding Mamoru in his body and her holding him and accidentally like purging him of his blood, and like her like freaking out and then holding on to him again, like that scene and her reacting to this, where the whole point of like her character was the fact that she wanted to be a fighter, she wanted to be with Robin. She put those things aside to come to Kaigen, to marry Takaru. And the big thing that she says is like, she was always told, like, once you have a kid, it will be worth it. Once you hold your first child, you will learn and you will realize it was worth it. And she never had that feeling. Every time she, like when she had her kids, the only thing she felt from them was like cold.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until just like literally like probably like weeks before this, when Mamoru came to her and like asked her those questions about like has the Empire been lying to me? And she sat down with him, and they like, she said it was like the first time she connected with him.
Yeah, and they're dual.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're dual. And it was like, she finally had this thing that, and like a big part of it was like, she realized like she's been wasting time because she never tried having that connection with him. And it wasn't until then, and then you like, all of this comes to a head just for the war to happen, for him to be killed. And it's like her reaction to that. And that got to me for sure.
Yeah, and it's devastating. It feels like just such a, when I'm reading this book, I just feel so much weight on my back.
Dude.
It's
even talking about it, I could like feel it again.
I know, it feels terrible.
This book, if it does one thing well, it does a really good job at making you feel like the weight of all the things that have happened.
Yes, the repercussions of it doesn't glorify war at all. The battle scene is cool, but it does such a good job painting the picture of the realities of what it's actually like.
Yeah.
Like the hardest hitting thing for me is whenever she's running for the bomb shelter and one of her friends named Hiyori, they're like, where is she? And her husband is saying, we have to leave her behind. And she's like, no, I'm going to get her. And runs off into her house, where she finds her 4-year-old son slain on the floor in front of her, and a Ranganese soldier. I'm not going to say what he's doing, but he's sexually assaulting her.
Yeah.
And obviously Misaki kills her, but
Kills him.
Yeah. Not her. But it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
It made me sick. That's the best way I can put it, is the ending of this book and everything to do with war. It just made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And how they did Hiyori's character with, after the bombs going off and finding out that she's pregnant and doesn't know who,
Oh my
if her baby's
God,
from her
bro.
husband or from this Ranganese soldier.
And one thing too is before any of this happened, kind of like I said, the stark difference of tone is Hiyori was a very like bubbly, like elusive, like not very like ignorant. Like she's so like sweet.
Yes.
And she's just like a sweet person. She just like wants to hang out with her friends, Setsuko and Misaki.
She's very innocent.
She's so innocent, and for it to happen to her and like to see like the change that in character before and after is like jarring.
She kills herself.
And and she has a baby and realizes it wasn't her husband's, and kills herself. And oh my God, bro.
I can't, I hate reiterating, it just makes me sick.
If there's, like I said, like this book just makes you feel it. It makes you feel it so hard.
Yes.
Let's touch on characters. I think that would be a good place to start. So yeah, how did you feel about, our main cast of characters first?
So Mamoru, I'll start with him. I loved his character.
Yeah.
I thought it did a really good job of showing how young he was and how he wasn't this classic anime fantasy style 14-year-old kid who does all this badass shit immediately and like doesn't suffer from it. You know what I mean? The classic trope of this kid's just super strong.
Yeah.
Which Mamoru is a very strong soldier, but it makes it very obvious that he's inexperienced and struggles and, I mean, just isn't up to class with a lot of these special op forces.
I mean, the first thing it's a little frustrating at first, even as soon as the Ranganese fight, he's like essentially useless until he witnesses his sensei die.
Yes.
And until that moment, like he's kind of just like frozen. He doesn't really know what to do. He's helping the best he can to like, they put up like ice walls and he's helping with that. When he couldn't see the enemy in the mist, he was helping his sensei launch the spears at his enemy. But as soon as he had to face them, he was just young and he's just inexperienced and wasn't able to, he couldn't keep up.
Yes, very naive. You know what I mean? It's very, battle is very glorified. So that change in character from whenever he sees his sensei's skull just crushed in, because it was his fault basically, because he failed to fight this thing.
Yeah.
And his sensei saved him, and in doing so left a blind spot open behind him for him to be hit. You can just tell Mamoru after that is just different.
Yeah.
And I think it does a really good job showing that. I really liked how he got his Whispering Blade, obviously.
Yes.
That scene blew me away.
That moment was awesome, dude.
And it's talked about a lot in the book how one of the reasons why he hasn't formed a Whispering Blade yet is because he's infected with this Susanoo blood technique, since his mom can like do that. They're saying it taints his ice, basically. That's why it's not pure enough. And so for the fact for his blade to be mixed with the ice and the blood,
yes, dude.
Cherry on top.
It was so good.
It was stunning. And although I obviously hated seeing him die, I do like when a book has consequences like that and it doesn't immediately back out and something fucking magical happens. You know what I mean? I like seeing real consequences. You know what I mean? He fought that extremely tough opponent, this like obviously the best fighter on the field,
exactly,
and died.
Yeah.
That's what should have, as much as I don't like it, that's what should have happened. And
it makes sense that
I
happened.
appreciate the author willing to do that. And it also just adds so much to the other characters, since our other main character is his mother. It adds a whole nother layer to this book.
One thing that this book, which, maybe we'll touch on more, but portrays well is like that like feeling of like motherly love.
Yeah.
From Misaki, like from her as a character, and her like almost kind of like learning to feel that. So for Mamoru's death, like being able to see that from her perspective, was done like expertly.
You know what this book also does really well?
What's that?
The kids.
Okay.
All of the kids talk.
Dude, I love that.
Oh my gosh. It is so, and it's such a disgusting and gross book. It makes your heart so warm.
So, yeah.
Because she has like 3 other very young children, and one of them like always grabs her 2 fingers.
Yeah.
And is just holding him while he's sucking his thumb, and he just wants to be held.
Yep.
And just the way they talk and interact with
One of
people.
them wants to talk all the time.
It is so realistic of like actual toddlers, and I don't know. It just made me want to be a dad.
Yeah,
it was
so heartwarming.
It was so beautiful.
But yeah, going back to Mamoru, just I felt the exact same way. I thought that he was written really well, and I loved like in the beginning, even like his relationship with Kwong, like everything like felt like I could see like a 14-year-old acting that way.
100%. Just going over the top.
Exactly. And I also just like I liked his I don't know if you'd call it a trope, but like the tropiness of him like wanting to like always like be the best, and he always like he wants to take others' techniques and you know excel at it.
Yes.
And like that's his whole like driving force, at least initially.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he learned the truth that he becomes to like open up, like it talks about like a stark difference from like when his like eyes truly opened.
Yeah.
And like the way that he even like looked at the world, and Misaki even like observing that in him, where now it felt like he like truly saw everything for the first time after like his like world was shattered. And I thought that was actually done really well.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I thought that like that was really cool. I liked that a lot.
And I can just tie a lot of that stuff back to like real life. You know what I mean? I have a lot of issues with our government. I'm not going to get political on here or anything like that, but
yeah,
it really makes you think about how governments just like push these like normal people into war and hide things, and it just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But anyways,
I guess let's move to Misaki.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, the same thing. I think she's an expertly written character. I think it's I don't know if I'd call it a breath of fresh air, because it's not fresh air. It's like rancid air. But for her to like, it talks about that scene when she held her baby for the first time and she didn't feel the love, like the motherly love. That scene, like reading that, I was like, it like, that was another part where like it like hit me, where I was like, the stark reality. Like, it's not a fairy tale. It's not like, you know, these dreams of having kids, and like the first time you hold them, you're like, you fall in love, and like it's like happily ever after. It's like very like real and raw, and it like makes you feel her position that she's in.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm gonna get excited for a second.
Okay.
About Misaki, because this book is proof that you can have a badass female main character
Yes.
and it not feel cringy and weird, and I don't know how else to put it, but if you go and read Throne of Glass, first 3 chapters, that main character is fucking obnoxious. It's fucking obnoxious. You can have a badass female character and it be done well.
Yes.
And this is fucking proof. Misaki is awesome. Fuck all these other female main characters. Okay? Like Daggermouth. I read that. It's just so over the top badass. It's like, okay, this girl, she walks into the bar and all the guys in the bar are like shrivel down.
Yeah.
And she like orders, this actually happens in Daggermouth. She orders, she's like, let me get the strongest shit on the menu. And the guy brings her like 8 shots, and she's talking to this dude, and she's just pounding down these
What
shots,
the hell?
bro. And
This is a book?
Yes. And this dude across the room is like, he like has a problem with her or something. They're like, some quest or some bullshit. And you know what she does? She walks up to him and like fucking just stabs him. You know what I mean? It's just so over the top badassery.
Like trying too hard almost.
And this it's just proof, man.
It's
proof.
not that at all.
It's
it like
not.
it goes out of its way to like show like Misaki fights dirty. That was like the whole thing. Like, she's not the honorable samurai warrior that the rest of this family is, because she accepts that her limitations, her like physical limitations, and the fact that she's not like the child of like a god.
Right.
And it like makes all like everything she does, and like even the way the fights are written themselves, and like how like after 15 years of not being able to train and not fighting, the fact that she's able to still do the things she does, it's like, even if like some of it is like flukes, or like some things like it happens, like obviously other people wouldn't be able to do it. It like makes sense that it wasn't like she just like she took out her sword and all of a sudden the 15 years went away and she became the badass that she used to be.
It doesn't feel tropey at all.
No, it's done really well to where everything like you feel like, okay, it could happen.
Yes. She's awesome, bro.
She's awesome.
And then you go to the duel with her and
Yes.
Takaru, where it doesn't explicitly say the blood manipulation is what making her stronger, but I'm assuming that's a part of a big part of it.
It's like heavily implied.
Yes. But her using all of her strength and not fighting dirty against Takaru, and whooping his fucking ass was just awesome, bro. It was so well done.
And also, even in that, because like it'd be one thing if Takaru was like in his A game, and now like she just comes out the gate swinging, but it reflects like the mental struggle that he's going through, because that's a big thing too. Is like your mentality affects like the strength of your Jujaku or whatever it's called, the magic
Yama
system, your Yama. Is that what it's called?
I think it's called. That's like the energy itself.
Okay.
I think Jujaku is like
I just said a word.
being a waterbender.
Okay.
There's like the Tajaku or whatever, which the fire. I'm butchering this, but not important.
Yeah. Anyways, but so yeah, even then it's like, and then once he like finally gets that moment of clarity, he starts being able to like actually he begins to keep up again, and he starts overpowering her, and then like it comes to the climax where he drops it and lets the blade come to her or come to him, and it like I don't know, all the action feels like. Even, which is crazy to say because it's obviously this magical, crazy ice, children of God's blood, like things like that. Right. But still, it has like a root in like everything makes sense, and that's so important because when you have a Mary Sue character where everything, I don't know if you've heard that trope, but everything they do is like they do in their first try. They never make mistakes. They're always just perfect. Like you get tired of that really fast.
Yes.
So
I can't stand it.
Yeah, to have a book where like the main character is a female lead, is a badass, but isn't that is like very refreshing.
It's amazing. It's top tier. I'll say. It's peak even. Let's talk about Takaru.
Okay. Takaru.
I got a little bit of a problem with Takaru.
Okay.
He's shown off as cold the entire time, right? And I get that. Whenever they go into his backstory in the duel, it makes sense.
Yes.
Here's my issue. I don't think this dramatic of a change would come because it's years of trauma and years of hiding away. I don't think this dramatic of a change in a person comes that fast. That was my biggest problem with this character. I thought the change from Takaru throughout the entire book to the last few chapters after the duel, I thought it was a little much.
Okay.
And him calling Robin to the house or whatever and leaving his wife alone with Robin a lot of the times on purpose. He like literally doesn't want to be there. He says, "Oh, I trust you," right? But I don't know. It felt a little forced for me.
Yeah, so I could see that. I will say, like, when I initially read it, I did kind of feel a little bit of that like kind of almost like a little jarring feeling of who he became. I didn't feel that way with the Robin thing. To me, that made sense because to me it was essentially when he dropped his shield and let the blade come to her. I saw it kind of like the same thing. Like he doesn't want to be who he was, and he doesn't want her to like feel like the same ties to him that he needed or that she felt this whole time, because that was like his whole thing is he's been trying like this whole time he's been trying not to break her. He's been trying to like stay within like this like code of conduct that you have to do. Like he learned from his father like after the trauma that he went through, and then for him to go through this change, he needs to be sure that Misaki is like on board the way that he needs her to be.
I agree. I just think it happened too fast. After that duel, it was like immediate. Okay. I feel like years of trauma and stuff like that. Again, I'm not an expert on trauma, but it felt like it should have taken a little bit more time.
So I can't remember for sure, but I want to say didn't it say like months passed?
I think it was like a year. So maybe you're right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure.
Even before the Robin thing, though.
Okay, so yeah, that was a little jarring of like him like kind of like stepping into the role immediately. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, like literally just like instantaneous change.
Okay, yeah, I could see that a bit, and I think that's understandable. I think I'm kind of Like I love like the redemption stories in books and like character redemptions, and seeing that change, like it more just like made me happy than anything else. But I can totally kind of like get that, like where it feels like a little bit jarring. But I don't know. I think when I read it, I kind of got that feeling a little bit more like right at the end of the chapter to the next one. But like from the chapters on, it felt like it made sense. I kind of have a hard, like I could be persuaded.
So many of my bad feelings about this book, I'm supposed to feel, and it makes me upset.
Okay.
Like the whole thing with Takaru and Mamoru, I understand the point of it was that it's fucked up and terrible, but it just like, it makes me so mad. But I guess that's the point, is that it's supposed to make me upset.
Yeah.
Is how he failed as a father, basically.
Yeah.
And Mamoru's dead now.
Yeah, well,
it rips me a new one. It makes me not like Takaru at fucking all, bro. I cannot stand him.
Yeah, well, that was a big part of it, was the fact that, like you were saying, you know how you were saying, like it makes sense that Mamoru would have died in that position.
Yes.
I was saying like the only way he could have lived would have been if he was the one sent back to the village. Then you could like play it up to like where it makes sense that he was able to survive. But that's like the point.
I wish that happened.
Is Takaru was told to go. He like questioned it at like
for
once,
a while.
Once. No, not really. You said like he fought it. I don't feel like he really did.
And he like he doesn't question it more than once, but he stands there for way longer than he has any other decision.
That is true.
Because he knows that his son's gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too. This book kind of like teases you, where the whole time like I'm like I see like he hesitates, and I'm like, yes, finally, like question, go against them, and then he like falls. Like even when the government was there, he was like, you're gonna burn our people, or like our dead. Like you can't do that. And then they'll be like, yes, we can. And then like I'll like be like, come on, this is it.
This is it.
And then he's just like, okay. And he goes away. I'm like,
I know.
God damn, bro.
Give
please.
me blue balls, bro.
Give
please.
me something. Which, like, even we texted each other. We were both like, dude, I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
And then for the duel to happen, and for you to see everything from Takaru's perspective, and to see the reason he is who he is, to me, like it like everything clicked into place like perfectly. Like the picture it painted was perfect.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
And as much as I can agree that like maybe it was a bit jarring of a change for him to like instantly take action, instantly be that. But at the same time, I think it was a little bit of the point where Misaki was saying like, you have to be this.
Yes.
And that was like the whole thing. Like, I want to see you do the impossible. I want to see you cut the lilies in glass.
Yeah.
And like, if he would have done anything else afterwards, it wouldn't like, the change wouldn't have like been the same. Maybe like
right.
That's what she needed him to be, and that's what he needed to be. And that was him saying, okay, I will do it. I accept.
Yeah, it makes sense. Again, it's just a little nitpick. I don't think it's like a massive issue with the book. Honestly, all of my issues with this book are nitpicks.
Yeah.
Except for one.
I'm guessing we're gonna have the same one, but yeah.
I'll let you say it then.
Robin.
Okay.
I think everything to do with Misaki's like kind of backstory in like her conversations, like in like being a part of like this like Sunburst and talking about Robin in that whole last chapter, which was so long, to me felt like really like out of place from the rest of this book. It felt like it was like trying, almost like it was building up to like what I assume would be like a sequel or something, like, or another book.
I think that's
like
100% what it was.
All the like it loaded you with all this information, all these names, all these like organizations.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's unnamed and he's taking on orphan children.
Yeah, exactly.
We
like,
can't beat him.
It's
blah,
like
blah.
It's like in the middle of this war story, this like gritty, sad, like detrimental, like rips at your heart. Like there's like a superhero subplot.
Yes.
And that definitely felt like a little like weird and a little jarring. And I don't know. I never liked Robin very much, I think.
Yeah. I just can't, again, he felt very tropey to me.
Yeah.
And I don't really like tropey characters. not saying tropey characters can be done well.
Yeah.
But Robin, I hate superheroes, so it also goes into that.
Yeah.
Where this guy is like, I won't kill anybody.
Yeah.
The second he said that, I'm like, I'm out of this
Yeah.
character. You know what I mean? I'm not sold. It fit Misaki's story a little bit, so I was able to give it a little bit of forgiveness, where she's this character who's not like that and is willing to kill for who she loves. I appreciated, I guess, the contrast between them two. I think it adds a little bit to Misaki's character, but kind of like what you said, I don't like Robin. I didn't like the superhero subplot.
No.
One thing about the final chapter, I will say, I'm 50% in agreement with you, and 50% loving that chapter a lot, because it shows the village, because it's like a time skip. It's like a year after. Shows the village is pretty again, and the black pine tree where Mamoru was buried in this like grave or whatever, and it talks about how, since the Kaigenese government doesn't allow them to talk about what happened, how they leave the ice blocks that melt away as time. I thought that was beautiful. Seeing her connect with her kids again, it's making me emotional talking about it right now, because it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, sorry. To clarify, I agree with all of that.
Right.
It's honestly like it's just the like Robin subplot that got in the way.
And that's my 50% agreement with you was the entire Robin subplot.
Cool, yeah. But even with Robin, like I don't hate the fact that Robin was there. It made sense for the story. I love Daniel. I thought Daniel was.
That's what I was gonna say.
I
awesome.
love
Daniel.
I thought So I thought but they just like packed in a lot of like honestly, if they had everything the same happen, but just like didn't have the scenes where they talked about the organization and the this super villain that they have to go stop, like it just could have been written better.
And it's very obvious trying to force a sequel. It felt like an info drop to make you want to read the second book.
Yeah, and that's how it feels like all those scenes are.
Yes.
Like there's important information to get from them. That's like you couldn't just delete those chapters. That's not what I'm saying. But they definitely could have been like reworked to where like just those things weren't like as important. And also just every time I heard Sunburst or like Shadow, it like made me cringe a little bit.
I agree.
Where it's like I said, just the tone of this book, and then hearing like Sunburst out, like I'm like, come on.
I feel
dude.
the exact same way.
But that's such a minor thing in the scope of what this book actually is.
The story here is phenomenal.
Yes.
What it does with war and its characters, and talking about grief and loss and lying governments, it's peak.
Yeah.
It's peak.
Like I said, I think one big part of this book is like the like idea of like regret, and I think it makes you feel it so hard.
It nails it, bro.
After the war, I was able to read for like a few hours straight, where I got like a good amount of chapters after the invasion, and after I was done, bro, I went for a walk, because my emotions were just like so like I felt drained physically from everything that happened, or like emotionally drained. It just like I had to literally, like, it was sunny out and I just went for like a short walk down and back up, because I just needed to like feel the sun on me, because I felt like
it's depressing.
Yeah, I don't like it. Just it hit me so many times, where I just like it just grabbed me so hard.
And I think we need books like this that have that. Too many times, especially in fantasy, battle and war is so glorified.
Yeah.
It's such a breath of fresh air to have something that shows the reality of what it's really like for like the normal people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even like a part of that too is like on the front of the book it says, "Better to die sharp in war than rush through a time of peace." And that's even that is like a part of this book where it talks about like the character Takashi, the head of the Matsuda house, who all like he really wants is to fight. He wants there to be a war. And that's not to say he wants like his family to be like destroyed or something. He doesn't like, or that he wants an invasion, but that's what he's trained his whole life for. That's what the Matsudas trained their whole life for, is to be these fighters. And to see him get what he wants, to see him fight, to see him go out the way he does, where it's like an explosion of his power, just like, and like this like ice sculpture piercing like hundreds of the Ranganese. Like even that was like so awesome. Yeah, so like somehow it both is managed to like glorify fighting while making you feel like the consequences.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, no, I'm gonna talk about one more thing I like and then one more thing I disliked.
Okay.
Fantastic thing I didn't really mention that much, and I don't think I'm going to be able to like talk too much about this, but I just wanted to mention it. The atmosphere of this book is amazing. I don't want to say world building because that's my issue with this book, but the imagery that the author like generates through her prose and stuff like that, of like in the duel, the snow falling around them and falling into the sheets of her clothes because she's been waiting there, and how their auras like have pull the water droplets from the air and stuff like that, and just the whole atmosphere of this book during the fight scenes, during, I'm just gonna call them grief scenes, during all the consequences, is all, it adds so much to the book. Cause you take amazing characters, amazing plot, and then you like throw an amazing atmosphere at it, and it's just pure peak. But what kind of goes along with atmosphere is the world building a little bit. I didn't really like a lot of the world building. Again, I kind of felt the same way about a lot of the world building stuff with the other countries and stuff as I did about these superhero subplots. It just felt kind of silly. You learn about why the Ranganese attacked Kaigen, and it was basically a test. And they wanted to throw their strongest warriors at the Kaigen's country's strongest warriors to see how they would fare in a war. Which kind of makes sense. But again, I don't think a growing empire is going to throw their best warriors into death without like good reason. And I didn't think a test is a really good reason for, especially when it's talked about a lot. Ranga, I think that's the country called, is becoming very powerful. So a country doesn't get that powerful by being stupid. Yeah. And I found it a little stupid that the reason they attacked was for this test or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially whenever this world is confusing sometimes, because they're training all these warriors up and stuff like that, but then they have jets, airstrikes, and tanks.
Okay, yeah. So what I was gonna say is I pretty much agree with everything you just said. I found myself. Actually, yeah, I feel like we're like 1-to-1 on this. I found myself like reacting or feeling the same way. Like I can't really explain it, but when I hear the words like sunburst and shadow, and when I see like the superhero stuff, there's like something in the back of my head that like lights up. And a lot of the things with some of the world building, specifically with outside of Kaigen, did the same thing. So I'm on the same page. Okay. Where some of it felt a little like silly and didn't feel like it like matched the rest of like the tone of the book.
No, it didn't.
I also like the fact that they have jets and things like that, but they don't have guns, or they do have guns, but they didn't want to use them.
It's just weird.
Which they like I said, it's all like explained in the fact that they wanted to test their prowess like against like the strongest warriors. But to me, it felt like it was thrown in as an excuse to write the book that she wanted to write within the world that she wanted it to be in.
Yes.
Not that like it naturally made sense.
I don't think she talks about that exactly. But this was originally supposed to be a standalone prequel to her series, the Theonite series. It's going to be like a trilogy. Okay. And she tossed the idea because she said the world that she was building, she didn't like. Okay. So it kind of how we feel, I think, is kind of similar to how she felt about it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me too, because I do think that as much as I love like the atmosphere of the Sword of Kaigen specifically, yes, everything outside of it kind of like didn't really.
It's just weird.
Yeah, it felt like the Sword of Kaigen was definitely like out of place in this world.
It was like its own bubble. Yeah, you know what I mean. Whereas I feel like a country like Kaigen, if they have all this technology and they know the Sword of Kaigen is the front where like everything's going to happen if there is an invasion, I feel like they would be trained. Obviously, they still want them to. The propaganda makes sense. Yeah, but I think they would have more technology there, more jets, more things to I don't know, like see them from far off, you
Exactly.
know what I mean, and take care of the problem before they reach the coast.
Which like they said, like if you take the Ranganese trying to test explanation, it like makes sense. Like it answers a lot of the questions that you'd have, because like even they say like, why didn't they just use a big bomb? Why didn't they just like come in with a jet and just bomb everyone? And it's like, yeah, it's an answer, but
feels
it's
like
not
a cop-out.
It's not satisfactory.
It's not satisfactory.
It's not
at all.
satisfactory.
It's not a good answer.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Like they have satellites, so they have rockets.
Yeah.
And if they have rockets, they have missiles. You like that's what like the rocket that took us like in human history, that's where rockets were originally, missiles.
Or at least just have guns or something. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There should be more technology.
For sure.
Which I guess a part of that is it I think one of her like reasons for this is they're building satellites there so they can start to use phones.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, which I guess is like an explanation in itself of like, okay, they just don't have any technology at all, blah, blah, blah. I still think it doesn't like...
Well, no, because but Ranga like matched their technology, which is just weird. It felt weird to me.
It's odd. Very odd.
I think I read something where someone was like, well, the problem is if like the Ranganese brought guns, that, you know, you're talking about like this like freezing atmosphere, like guns might not even like work against someone like Takaru. And you could say like, okay, against someone like Takaru, that makes sense.
You could just freeze like
because you could just freeze everything.
Yeah.
But like against like everyone else, like, is that really a good explanation? And also, shouldn't Kaigen then have guns? Couldn't they fucking destroy all of the Ranganese if they just...
So in the Ranganese, they summoned a giant tornado, right?
Yeah.
The jets, I mean, don't you think the wind people are going to be able to do something about things flying through the fucking air?
I mean, maybe, but when they're like multi-ton jets, like, can they really?
A giant fucking like tornado, like that isn't supposed to scale mountains. It's supposed to like break off.
Yeah.
And destroyed everything
Yeah.
in its wake. I feel like if they have the strength to do that with like 5 people in the middle of it, they probably should have been able to take care of some jets. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but
I think you're wrong about that. I think, well, that's the thing too. Once they had the jets, they were shooting from the jets.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like jets were flying over them. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in a jet and I see a tornado ahead and I know, oh, inside of that tornado is 5 dudes, I click a button and all 5 are dead.
But then shouldn't the Ranganese soldiers have some sort of weaponry to take care of, even if it's a test, the Ranganese soldiers should have something to be able to oppose this opposition so they don't just get wiped off the face of the planet.
There realistically, it doesn't really make sense for what happened.
So that really like fucking irked me hard.
I think I had the same thoughts. I thought about these same things. I think I was able to keep that in the back of my head while I read most of this book, because I just kind of like accepted it for what it was. But yeah, looking at it from like after finishing this book, looking back, I'm like, yeah, a lot of that stuff doesn't really make sense. Which kind of sucks because the rest of the world building I think is done super well. Like the idea of like the magic system is so cool, and it plays off so well. The like idea of like the families and like how they interact with one another and like the cultural basis behind everything, that's really cool. The religion is really cool. But then yeah, everything in terms of technology, that's where things get really choppy.
I agree 100%.
So yeah, I think we're on the same page there.
I think so too.
Which is nice.
So are you ready to say if it sucks or fucks?
I'm very ready.
All right, I guess we can do it on 3, 2, 1, right?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Fucks. Easily.
This book fucks hard.
This book, it's I think you know, you hear a lot about like the idea of a wartime or like a war story. And I know that there's plenty of literature and movies out there that kind of give off that same idea of like feeling the consequence of war. But somehow in this like fantasy magic book, it hit me harder than like a lot of some of those other stories.
I agree,
too.
100%.
You connect so much with the characters, and then to see like the things that they go through is like it hits a different level.
It's stunning.
It's done so well.
Yes. What do you rate this book?
So so admittedly, I finished this last night.
Right.
So I have a feeling that as I go through and think on things, my rating could change by a little bit. But right now I have it at a 4.25.
Okay. So my initial rating of this book, I had at 4. It's
Okay.
like 3.89 or something. So like
Okay.
basically 4. But I kind of want to give it a 4.5.
Okay.
I'm leaning that way because of the bulk of this book that I don't have problems with is so fucking good.
Yeah.
That the issues with it don't matter. I can't give it 5 stars as much as I want to.
Yeah.
Because of how this book made me feel so much. I like normally when I feel this much, I want to just give it a 5 stars.
Yeah.
But because of the issues, I think 4.5 is fair.
I think so too, and I would be happy to bump mine up to a 4.5. I think one issue I did have, which it's the same issue. It's just I think because of the inclusion of everything with like Robin and that like plot B kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it extended this book out farther than it needed to be.
100%.
Like I think they realistically could have cut out like 150, 200 pages.
Yeah,
and
the
I
pacing
think-
at the end.
Yeah, and I think it probably would have made this book a 5 stars.
I agree.
Because it definitely had some pacing issues.
I agree 100%.
But in terms of like the main story and the main plot and what it was trying to do, I think it nailed it.
Yeah, 100%.
I think
I
it
agree.
nailed it.
So yeah, go read this book if you haven't. If you're a fantasy lover, you probably already have. This book is massive among
Yeah.
the fantasy community. But let us know what you think. Did you like this book? Did you hate it? I hope you liked it because it's amazing.
Yeah. It made me cry multiple times.
I didn't cry, but
That's crazy.
I felt gross a lot.
Yeah.
So, which is honestly worse than crying for me. I'm more of a crier during like beautiful moments. This is more just like devastating. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I felt gross and cried, so it hit a whole. I got a whole range of emotions.
I know
from this
you
book.
cried and you didn't give it 5 stars. That's crazy.
Well, I cried a lot of books. Okay, I'm an easy cry. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, that's fair. But yeah, that's our second episode of Sucker Fuck,
Yeah.
and we're gonna do another one next week on Hyperion.
Yes, it probably won't be like the same exact structure that we did now.
Yes.
Because like I said, we're gonna have a third host.
Yes.
So it might be a little bit different than how we did it here, but I'm very excited to read that book.
Me too.
People rave about that book as like when was it released? Is it 19?
I don't know, bro.
Okay, it was like late. I think it was either early 90s or like late 80s or something like that. So it's not like super old, but people still like recognize it as like a classic.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. So yeah, I guess we will see you guys next time.
See you later.
See you.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 4 of Readers Anonymous. I'm your host, fucking